So, how is life going with your husband? Yuri, Vaya's colleague asked her. Vaya lifted her gaze from her plate and peered at her, wondering why she showed interest in her married life all of a sudden. Good, she gave a short, curt reply and turned her attention back to her plate. A look of disappointment marred Yuri's face. She was seeking some tea to gossip about, and Vaya left her empty handed. Oh, glad to hear that, but it's not what I was expecting. Your response says there is something wrong between you and your husband. You know you can share with me, Vayan. Vayan sighed, her irritation palpable as she dropped her spoon and gave Yuri her full attention. Miss Yuri, I think my married life is none of your business. The amount of time we spend working together, you would know I don't like to share my personal life with anyone. And if there are issues in my marriage, I am capable of taking care of them. Thanks for your unsolicited concern, but I am better without it. She exhaled deeply, holding back the urge to roll her eyes when Yuri kept sitting there. Being a prosecutor was already a daunting task. Reading case files, countless encounters with criminals, the exhausting investigation did not only drain her energy but also make her frustrated sometimes. Amidst all the chaos, a person only seeks a nice, serene lunch, but when someone decides to ruin it as well, the anger reaches its peak. The same was happening with Vian. She was tired of going back and forth investigating a case. All she wanted were few minutes of peace and a delightful lunch. However, Yuri's unasked presence irritated her to no extent. Oh, really? Then why didn't you go to honeymoon till Vian chuckled humorlessly, thereby cutting her off in between? Don't try, Miss Yuri. You will come across disappointment only. This, your habit of meddling in someone's privacy, you should change it. I repeat, my life is none of your business. One gave her a tight lipped smile and shook her head when she didn't dare to move. Well, if I were at your place, I would have left by now. But it's okay. I think you want me to make it clear. So, Miss Yuri, can you please leave? I'm trying to regain my energy. Also, sorry for the disappointment. Yuri's face twisted in anger, and she threw glares at Van, but she remained unbothered. She rose from her place and stormed away from there. Van scoffed in disbelief. Yuri liked to pry into everyone's matters. She would go around inquiring every other person about their life, and her today's mission was unveiling Van's married life. But to her chagrin, she failed the mission, that too terribly. Van was a highly professional person. She liked to keep her personal life away from prying eyes. She didn't interact much with her colleagues until necessary. This led to them making assumptions that she was a rude and standoffish kind of a person. However, she didn't care about people's narratives towards her. In the mundane world, where nobody could be trusted, if she was making protective walls around her, there was nothing wrong with it. Oh my goodness, she squealed, kicking her legs in the air. She was currently reading a romance novel. Apart from love books, this was the one thing she loved the most. The slow burn romance, the excitement, the thrill, the weight, and the tickling at the pit of the stomach was something she enjoyed, undoubtedly. She threw the book aside and buried her face in the pillow. First kiss, and that too under the rain. Oh my god. She wiggled, banging her hand on the mattress. This side of her was completely different from the bold and confident prosecutor Vian. Amidst the fantasy world, she was just a little girl, weaving imaginary castles of a romantic married life. Her movement ceased completely when her phone went off. She groaned in annoyance as she was too lazy to get out of the bed. Who the hell wants to become a third wheel between me and my peace? She reluctantly got off the bed and moved to get her phone, which she had put on charging. Of course, it had to be you, she mumbled, rolling her eyes when she saw her brother's name displaying on the screen. What? She snapped, hopping on the bed. She rolled her eyes when she heard her brother's annoying laugh from the other side. Speak, or else I am hanging up right now, she gritted out when he kept on laughing. Kim Sok-jin, Wan's elder brother, He was married and had a kid, but according to Van, he himself was worse than a kid. An annoying, idiotic jerk was what she called him. What do you call a bee that comes from America? No, I don't want to know. USB. Vine groaned, banging her head against the pillow when his windshield wiper laugh resonated in her ears. She certainly didn't sign up for this. Good one, right? There's one more. No. I told my wife she should embrace her mistakes. Vine had closed her eyes and shook her head, knowing it would be another lame joke. Then she hugged me. There was a moment of silence before Vine burst into hips of laughter. But this time, Jin did not laugh. Amazing. This one was seriously good. Finally, your humor improved over these years of boring me with lame jokes. It's not a joke. She really hugged me. And now I'm sulking here in the closet. Really? Finally, my sister in law grew some brains. I thought she lost it completely after marrying you. Why stifled a laugh when she mentally counted to three? Yeah, you ungrateful brat. How could you say this? I raised you. I paid for your meals. I cooked you food. I used to drop you at school. Did you forget all of it? Why I laughed when he started rapping angrily. Okay, quit joking and tell me why you ruined my peace. Ryan asked once she sobered up from her laugh. I told you I'm sulking in the closet. I was getting bored, that's why I called you. Go and annoy your wife, brother. Let me live in peace. Shut up. How's life going with Jimin? Don't tell me you're annoying that poor soul. God might forgive you for torturing me, but He won't forgive you for troubling Him, you witch. Vine rolled her eyes, lying on her stomach. Her gaze fell on their wedding picture, which was placed on the bedside table. I'm not doing any of that. How would I trouble him when we barely talk? He does not talk much. I mean, he's a good person. He cares for me, but he's so cold. He's not romantic like I wanted my husband to be. Her voice turned octaves lower then. Her lips puckered into a pout. Yeonmi nods to her. Jimin stood at the doorstep, hearing each and every word. He didn't want to overheard her conversation, but his feet froze when she mentioned him. He had returned early with an intention to spend time with her, but seemed like all the plans went in vain. With his heart heavy with reality and pain, he quietly retreated his steps toward the study room. Meanwhile, Vine frowned her eyebrows when she didn't get any reply from Jin. You there, brother? After what felt like an eternity, she heard him sighing out loud. Don't tell me, Vine, you are still stuck with your bookish romance. Why, what's wrong with that? She lamented, and she felt offended by his reply. Being a prosecutor, she had the habit to go in the roots of any matter. There is nothing wrong with that until you read it to enjoy. You need to know that it is fictional. Real life is far more different and complicated than books. Every marriage is not romantic. Everyone's love language is not romance. Vine frowned her eyebrows. She had always been a skilled student, but for the first time, she didn't understand what he wanted to say. You see, our parents' relationship is a blend of bickering and teasing here and there. My relationship with Maya is about me being an annoying brat and her being an annoyed wife. Just like my and our parents' marriage are different, yours is different too. The frown on Ryan's forehead disappeared as she slowly grasped the meaning behind his words. You know, Jimin is a tacky turned kind of a person. In simple words, he speaks less but expresses more. What do you mean? He chuckled, shaking his head in helplessness. Silly girl, how do you know he cares for you? Because he always makes me breakfast before leaving for his office. He makes sure I feel comfortable in the house. He arranged a different cupboard for me without me asking. I don't know how he gets to know what I need, and he arranged it beforehand. Yes, that's his way of expression. He might not be good with words, but he is the best with actions, isn't it? Vine hummed, feeling guilty for her words earlier. Glad you understood. My head was literally on the verge of bursting. You are such a potato headed person. Shut up. she snapped, her nose scrunched up in distress. Your wife's intelligence has finally rubbed off on you. I can sense a little bit of maturity in your words. Good going, brother. She could picture him rolling his eyes at her remark. I am hanging up. Maya's here to coax me. I need to keep up with the act. He whispered in an undertone and disconnected the call before Ryan could say anything. She stared at the blank screen and sighed. He is annoying, but he is the best brother. The aroma of freshly cooked food filled the area as Ryan poured absolute efforts in preparing a nice feast for her husband. They had acquired this one habit. Jimin cooked breakfast while Ryan took charge of dinner. Her attention drifted to Jimin, who appeared in the kitchen in his casuals, his hair still damp with the shower he took a while ago. Jimin, when did you come back? Surprise laced her tone as she inquired about his return. Few hours ago. Now she was even more surprised. He had returned hours ago and she didn't know. Where were you? I was in the study room, getting some work done. Relax. Dinner will take some more time. You should have told me you came back. I would have prepared it earlier, she said, disheartened by the thought that he would have to wait to have dinner. His tired face and worn out body only added up to her disquiet. Take your time, I'm waiting. He occupied a chair in front of the kitchen island. His eyebrows moved along with her motions. His mind was preoccupied with the words she uttered earlier. Every girl has some expectations from her significant other. If Ryan had her dreams regarding this marriage and him, it wasn't wrong. If she wouldn't expect things from him, who else would she confide in? Though she didn't say it directly to him, what mattered was he knew what his wife wanted. Jimin, are you okay? She shook his shoulder. Startled, he blinked his eyes and looked at her bewildered. You have been zoning out. Is everything fine? Yeah, he replied, slightly nodding his head. However, Ryan wasn't content with the response. Are you sure? You can share with me if something is bothering you. His lips twisted into a subtle smile and he nodded. Okay then, dinner is ready. Go take your seat. I'm bringing your dinner on the dining table. Instead of obliging what she said, he rose from his seat and helped her in carrying the dishes to the dining table. Why smile at his sweet gesture? Her mind wandered around her brother's words. Jimin was a gem. She was undoubtedly lucky to have him as her husband. Her perspective changed after talking with her brother, and the change was visible as she eagerly engaged in a conversation with him. Despite being reticent, Jimin actively partook in conversation. Vaya's eyes sparkled with joy and she recited a silent prayer, wishing their relationship overstepped every borderline and evolved into something soulful and divine. Vaya stretched her limbs and slowly opened her eyes. A smile edged across her face, but it dropped instantly when she noticed she was alone on the bed. Jimin had left. She sighed in disappointment. After their interaction last night, she thought there would be a little bit alteration in his personality, but to her dismay, nothing changed. She sat upright and rubbed her face in anguish. Her gaze instinctively moved to their wedding frame. However, a frown marred her expression when something caught her eye. There was a red rose in front of that picture. She reached out for the rose, and that's when she noticed a note tucked beneath it. For the love of my life. She read it out loud, and a blush coated her cheeks when she recognized the handwriting. Did Jimin this for me? She mumbled to herself, nibbling on her lower lips due to shyness. She had always anticipated this kind of treatment, and now that she was actually getting it, it felt utterly overwhelming. But wait, for the love of my life? Is this a confession? He loves me? Tears of happiness pooled in her eyes. A person who was known for her tough demeanor and confident personality was literally crying over a few words. But these were not only a few words, These were more valuable than any of her prized possessions. Humming along the song, Vine got ready for work. She was very happy, over the moon. The glow of happiness was evident on her face. I am so happy, so happy. A song titled Come Back to Me was playing in the background. Using her hairbrush as a mic, she sang along, or precisely yelled along with the lyrics. Swaying her hips along the beat, she realized the moment of happiness. I have to leave for work, she whined, turning the Bluetooth off. She grabbed her handbag and rushed towards the door. She halted on her track when something fell from her purse. She looked down, and her eyes enlarged in pure delight, noticing a chocolate bar. Picking it up, she read the note. Sweets for my sweetheart. Her heart melted at the sweet message. She kissed the chocolate and put it inside her bag along with the note. Hopping inside the kitchen, she noticed her breakfast already served on a plate, another plate covering it. There was another note on top of it. I have an important meeting in the office, so I have to leave early. Have your breakfast. See you in the evening. He drew a smiling face in the lower right corner, surrounded by lots of small hearts. A giggle vibrated through Vian's chest due to how cute it looked. Even if you murder me after this, I would gladly die with a smile. She pulled out her phone to text him, but his name popped up on the screen. Don't forget to take your meals on time. Have a good day. Vian smiled and typed you too with two red hearts. You too. Jimin read the text, but what caught his eyes were the two red hearts. He smiled. His efforts were indeed effective. His wife was happy. What could he ask for more? It took every ounce of courage to make those small efforts. What if she didn't like it? How would she react to his confession? There were upturned doubts and lingering uncertainties, but he trusted the process. However, he lacked the strength to face her. Thus, he sought escape and came to his office. But now, it seemed like he should have stayed there to witness that one curious smile on his wife's face. No worries, maybe some other time. As Vanya stepped inside the house, she was surprised to see the sight in front of her. Rose petals adorned the floor, outlining a path that led to the living area. She removed her heels and walked along the path, too sensitive to crush the delicate rose petals beneath her feet. The path took her to the dining area, breaking through the living room. There stood Jimin, partially shy and partially nervous. The dining table was filled with different kinds of tantalizing dishes. Oh, you were supposed to walk on the roses. Vaya smiled. There she planned to surprise him with a candlelight dinner, and here he executed it before her. Why was he so sweet? Can I hug you? As he nodded, giving his consent, she ambled towards him and hugged him. Her arms slithered around his torso and she kept her head on his chest. He first hesitated, but slowly wrapped her arms around her shoulders, their hearts beating a sync, synchronizing in a melody. You are so sweet, you are the sweetest, she mumbled against her chest. He smiled, tightening his grip on her, this time authoritatively. They stayed like that, linked together like two lost puzzle pieces. This, all of this feels so surreal and dreamy that I think I don't deserve this. You are too good for me. She whispered, parting away from the hug. A feeling of peace surged through his heart. He couldn't help but feel contented by her response. I'm just trying to be better for you. You don't have to. There's no need to be better because you are the best. And I am the lucky one that you are mine. She again hugged him, unable to hold her giddiness. I'll try to be more romantic like you would, I promise. As he muttered those words, Maya looked up at him, her face reflecting confusion. I like the way you are. I don't want you to change. But you said you wanted a romantic husband. As the frown on her face deepened, he looked away, avoiding her eyes. I overheard your conversation. I'm sorry I didn't mean to, but it just happened. I agree I struggle to express my feelings, but I will try to change myself, I promise. You don't have to. I am silly girl. Don't mind my words. I blabbered nonsense yesterday. I like the way you are. I like everything about you. She cradled his face in her palms, tiptoed and placed a lingering peck on his forehead. This is for the love of my life. She chuckled when his cheeks turned pinkish. He didn't know why he was blushing, because of the kiss, or the confession, or embarrassment. You are peerless. I'm sorry if my words hurted you. I'm just an idiot. You don't need to apologize. I'm glad I heard you yesterday. Otherwise, I wouldn't get to see you happy. I got to know you appreciate small things. When if a change brings happiness in our life, we should adapt to it. If my small efforts bring smile on your face, I will do it over and over again. Did she need anything after this? No, nothing. No doubt her parents had found a rare gem for her, and she was going to cherish it her whole life. Shall we eat? Just give me 5 minutes. I'll be quick. She made her way towards her bedroom to take a quick shower and change into comfortable clothes. Jimmy's happiness was palpable as he struggled to stop a smile. He was happy, happy by the thought that his wife reciprocated his affection. He understood she didn't seek extravagant surprises or lavish outings. She demanded his presence, his time, and a few flowers here and there. Sometimes small memories cover large part of our hearts.